My name is Colin Waverly, and I used to think I was the luckiest man in Briarcliff County. 41 years old, married to the most beautiful woman in 3 zip codes, best friends with the golden boy who could charm paint off a barn. I run a small construction business, nothing fancy, just honest work with honest pay. The kind of guy who fixes your deck on Saturday and doesn't charge extra for beer breaks. If this is the American dream, someone needs to wake up and check the fine print. Our house sits on Maple Grove Drive, one of those suburban streets where every lawn looks like it was cut with a ruler and every mailbox stands at perfect attention. Elaine picked it out 5 years ago when her fitness studio started turning a profit. "We need something that matches our success," she said, running her manicured fingers along the granite countertops during the showing. I should have noticed she said "our success" when talking about her business. Elaine Waverly, my wife of 12 years, owns Harmony Wellness Studio downtown. Yoga classes, Pilates, those spinning bikes that cost more than my first truck. She's 39 and looks 29, with that kind of effortless beauty that makes other women hate her and men forget their own names. Auburn hair that catches light like copper wire, green eyes that could sell ice to penguins, and a smile that promises things she rarely delivers anymore. "Colin, did you remember to pick up the dry cleaning?" she asks this particular Tuesday morning, not looking up from her phone as she sips her kale smoothie. Even her breakfast looks like it belongs in a magazine. "Got it yesterday," I reply, buttering toast that she'll lecture me about later. "Your blue dress is hanging in the closet." "The Armani one?" "The expensive one that looks like all your other expensive ones." She finally glances up, and for a moment I catch something in her expression. Annoyance, maybe disappointment. Like I've failed some test I didn't know I was taking. "Jordan's coming by tonight for poker," I mention, watching her reaction. Jordan Mercer has been my best friend since high school, back when we were both skinny kids with more dreams than sense. While I learned to swing a hammer, he learned to swing deals. Real estate development, property management, the kind of business where you wear suits that cost more than most people's rent. 42 years old and still looks like he could quarterback the varsity team. "Oh," Elaine says, and something flickers across her face. "I thought he was busy with that Seattle project." "He is. Flying out next week, actually. Tonight's probably our last game for a while." She nods, suddenly very interested in her smoothie. That's really sad. I mean, you two have been friends forever." The way she says it makes me look up from my toast. There's genuine emotion in her voice, the kind I haven't heard in months. When was the last time she sounded that concerned about anything involving me? "Yeah, well, business is business," I say. "He'll be back for holidays." "Right, of course." She stands, smoothing her yoga pants over hips that could stop traffic. "I have an early class. Don't wait up. Maya and I are doing inventory after closing. Maya Singh runs the front desk at Harmony Wellness. 26, perky as a cheerleader, and gossips like it's an Olympic sport. She's also the kind of friend who'd help you bury a body, then post about it on Instagram with the right filter. Elaine kisses my cheek, a dry, obligatory peck that lands somewhere near my ear, and heads for the door. I watch her go, admiring the view despite everything. 12 years of marriage, and I still turn my head when she walks away. That should have been my first clue that something was wrong. When you stop taking your wife for granted, it usually means she's already taken someone else for granted. My crew arrives at 7 sharp. Leo Kowalski and Tom Bradley, 2 guys who've worked for me since I started Waverly Construction. Leo's built like a refrigerator with arms, Polish immigrant who came here with nothing and built something solid through pure stubbornness. Tom's the opposite, skinny as a fence post, talks faster than an auctioneer, and has opinions about everything from football to foreign policy. "Morning, boss," Leo grunts, loading tools into the truck. "We finishing the Henderson job today?" "Should be, unless Mrs. Henderson changes her mind about the tile again." "Rich people," Tom mutters. Can't decide if they want marble or granite, but they know they want it yesterday. We're renovating a kitchen in Briarcliff Heights, the kind of neighborhood where the driveways are longer than most people's commutes. The Hendersons are nice enough, retired doctor and his wife who treat us like actual human beings instead of hired help. The work goes smooth until lunch, when Tom starts running his mouth about things that aren't his business. "Your wife's looking good these days, boss. That yoga stuff must be working." "Always looked good," I reply, not looking up from the cabinet I'm installing. "Yeah, but she's got that glow, like she's really happy about something. My ex-wife had that same look right before she—" "Right before she what?" Leo interrupts. Tom shrugs. "Nothing, just saying she looks happy." I should have pressed him on that, should have asked what his ex-wife looked happy about. But I was busy being the trusting husband, the good guy who doesn't question his wife's happiness. Biggest mistake of my life. Jordan shows up at 8 with a case of beer and his usual grin. He's wearing jeans and a polo shirt that probably cost more than I make in a day, but he's never made me feel bad about the difference in our bank accounts. That's what I always liked about him. Success didn't change the core of who he was. Or so I thought. "Colin, my man." He claps me on the shoulder like we're still 17. "Ready to lose your money?" "Ready to take yours." We settle into the kitchen for our usual game. 5-card draw, nothing wild, small stakes that won't hurt anyone's feelings. It's about the company, not the cash. Always has been. "So, Seattle," I say, dealing the first hand. "Big opportunity?" "Huge. Waterfront development, luxury condos, the kind of project that sets you up for life." He arranges his cards with the focus of a surgeon. "Only problem is the timeline. Could be gone 6 months, maybe longer." Elaine seemed pretty broken up about it. Something changes in his expression, just for a second, like a cloud passing over the sun. She's sweet, always been emotional about goodbyes. Yeah, she cried when our neighbor's cat went missing last month. That's our Elaine, heart bigger than Texas. Our Elaine. The phrase sits wrong in my stomach, like bad seafood. We play until midnight, the conversation flowing as easy as the beer. Jordan talks about Seattle. I complain about demanding clients, and everything feels normal, comfortable, the way friendships should feel after 25 years. When he leaves, I watch his BMW disappear down Maple Grove Drive and feel genuinely sad. Losing your best friend, even temporarily, is like losing a piece of yourself. Elaine's still not home when I go to bed at 12:30. Inventory must be taking longer than usual. 3 days later, I'm sorting through a pile of bills when I notice something odd. Our phone bill is thicker than usual, 8 pages instead of the normal 3. Curious, I flip through the itemized calls, looking for the reason. What I find makes my coffee taste like sawdust. 317 calls between Elaine's number and one I recognize immediately, Jordan's number. 317 calls in 30 days, scattered across all hours of the day and night. Some lasting minutes, others going on for hours. I sit at the kitchen table staring at the evidence in black and white, feeling like someone just explained that gravity works backwards. The timestamps tell a story I don't want to read. 11:47 p.m. on a Tuesday when she claimed to be doing inventory. 6:23 a.m. on a Saturday when she said she was at an early yoga class. 2:15 p.m. on a Thursday when I was working and she was supposedly having lunch with her sister. 10 calls a day on average, every single day. The smart move would be to confront them immediately. Demand explanations, throw accusations, make a scene. But I learned a long time ago that the smart move and the right move aren't always the same thing. Confrontation gives people time to prepare lies, coordinate stories, cover tracks. Silence gives you power. Instead, I fold the bill carefully and tuck it into my toolbox, right next to my level and measuring tape. Tools of the trade, you might say. That evening, Elaine comes home with red-rimmed eyes and a story about Jordan's goodbye dinner. The whole gang was there. she says, not meeting my gaze. Maya, Tara, some of his work friends. It was really emotional. Tara Williamson is Elaine's therapist, or life coach, as she prefers to be called. Blonde, divorced, and the kind of woman who thinks other people's problems are entertainment. She charges $200 an hour to tell people things their friends would say for free. I bet, I reply. He's been a good friend to both of us. The best. Her voice cracks slightly. I'm going to miss him so much. She disappears into the bathroom for 20 minutes, and I hear the shower running. When she comes out, her eyes are clear, and her smile is back in place, but something feels different, like she's performing a role instead of living her life. Colin, I was thinking we should do something special this weekend. Just us. Like what? I don't know. Maybe drive up to the lake? We haven't done that in forever. The lake house belongs to her parents, a modest cabin on 30 acres of pine trees and privacy. We used to go there all the time when we were first married, back when we couldn't keep our hands off each other. Sure, I say. Sounds nice. But it doesn't happen. Friday afternoon, she gets a call about a plumbing emergency at the studio. Saturday morning brings a family crisis with her sister. Sunday, she's not feeling well, probably something she ate. I spend the weekend alone, which gives me time to think, time to plan, time to verify what I already know but don't want to believe. Her car's GPS tells an interesting story. While she claimed to be at the studio dealing with plumbing, she actually spent 4 hours at Riverside Apartments downtown. Building C, Unit 347. I know because I drive by on Sunday evening and see her car in the parking lot. Jordan's car is parked right next to it. I don't knock on the door. I don't make a scene. I just take pictures with my phone and drive home, whistling an old Johnny Cash song about burning rings of fire. The next 3 weeks pass like a fever dream. Elaine goes through the motions of being a wife, cooking dinners she doesn't eat, asking about my day while scrolling through her phone, sharing a bed where we might as well be strangers. But her heart isn't in it. Her heart is 3 time zones away in Seattle, with the man who's supposed to be my best friend. The calls continue. I start checking the bill obsessively, watching the numbers pile up like evidence in a court case. Late-night conversations that stretch past midnight. Early morning check-ins before I wake up. Afternoon calls that coincide perfectly with her errands. She thinks she's being careful, but careful is relative. When you're used to people trusting you completely, you get sloppy about covering your tracks. 2 weeks before Christmas, she starts getting excited about something she won't discuss. Secret phone conversations that end when I walk into the room. Shopping trips that produce no packages. A general air of anticipation that reminds me of a kid counting down to her birthday. Jordan's coming back for Christmas, she announces over dinner, trying to sound casual and failing completely. That's great. I've missed the bastard. He's only staying a few days, just long enough to see family. Well, we'll have to make the most of it. She nods, but her smile is trembling at the edges, like she's happy and terrified at the same time. That's when I know for certain what I've suspected for weeks. This isn't just an affair, it's a love story, at least from her perspective. She's not just cheating on me, she's planning to leave me. The only question is whether Jordan feels the same way, or if he's just enjoying the attention while he's stuck in a different city. I spend the next week making preparations. Harold Finch, my divorce attorney, is a thin man with thick glasses who looks like he should be teaching high school math instead of dissolving marriages. But he's sharp as a razor, and twice as cutting when he needs to be. You want to serve her when? He asks, reviewing the papers I've requested. Christmas Eve, at the airport, right in front of him. That's unusually dramatic for you, Colin. I'm feeling dramatic these days. Any particular reason for the timing? I slide the phone bills across his desk. 300 calls in 1 month. What do you think? Harold whistles low. That's not friendship. No, it's not. You could wait until after the holidays. Make it less of a scene. Harold, my wife has been planning to leave me for another man. My best friend, as it happens. She's been lying to my face for months, sneaking around like a teenager, and generally treating me like an idiot who can't add two and two. Making it a scene isn't a bug. It's a feature. He nods slowly. Fair enough. Papers will be ready by the 23rd. Christmas Eve arrives with snow and the kind of bitter cold that makes your breath smoke. Jordan's flight is scheduled to land at 3:15 p.m., and I know Elaine will be there to meet him because she's been checking the weather obsessively for 3 days. I'm picking up last-minute groceries, she tells me around noon, wearing her best dress under a coat that costs more than most people's car payments. Want company? No, that's okay. I might stop by the studio afterward, catch up on some paperwork. On Christmas Eve? You know how behind I get during the holidays. I nod and kiss her cheek, tasting lies and expensive perfume. Drive safe. She leaves at 2:30, which gives her just enough time to get to the airport and find parking. I wait 15 minutes, then follow in my truck, taking the back roads I know like my own heartbeat. The airport is busy, but not packed. Most people are already where they need to be for Christmas. I spot Elaine's car in the short-term parking, then find a space with a clear view of the terminal entrance. At 3:22, Jordan emerges from baggage claim, pulling a suitcase and scanning the crowd. He's wearing a charcoal wool coat that probably costs more than I make in a week, and his smile could power the entire terminal. Elaine spots him first. Even from 50 yards away, I can see her face light up like Christmas morning. She starts toward him, walking faster with each step, and for a moment, I see the woman I fell in love with 12 years ago. Happy, radiant, alive in a way she hasn't been in months. Just not for me. I intercept them 20 feet from the door, stepping out from behind a concrete pillar like something from a movie. Jordan sees me first, and his expression shifts from joy to confusion to something that might be panic. Colin, what are you doing here? Merry Christmas, Jordan. I hand him a manila envelope, thick with legal documents. She's all yours now. His face goes white as fresh snow. What is this? Divorce papers. Effective immediately. I look at Elaine, who's standing frozen like a deer in headlights. Congratulations, honey. You're free to be with the man you actually want. Colin, I don't understand. 317 calls in 1 month, I say quietly. Did you think I wouldn't notice? Jordan opens the envelope with shaking hands, scanning the first page. Colin, this isn't... We never meant for... For what? For me to find out? For it to get complicated? For you to actually have to choose between your best friend and your girlfriend? Elaine finds her voice. How long have you known? Long enough to realize that my wife cries harder when her lover leaves town than when her husband works 16-hour days. Long enough to understand why you've been so distracted lately. Long enough to hire a lawyer and get my affairs in order. People are starting to stare. A small crowd has gathered at a respectful distance, sensing drama but not wanting to get too close. Airport security hovers nearby, unsure whether this is a domestic dispute or just an awkward reunion. Colin, please, Jordan says. Let's go somewhere private and talk about this. Talk about what? How you've been screwing my wife for months? How you both lied to my face every single day? How you pretended to be my friend while planning to steal my life? It's not like that. Then what's it like, Jordan? Explain it to me. Help me understand how a man I've known for 25 years ends up having phone conversations with my wife at 2 a.m. He can't answer, because there is no good answer. Elaine steps forward, tears streaming down her face, and for a moment, I think she's going to apologize. Going to try to explain or make excuses or beg for forgiveness. Instead, she says, I love him. 3 words that change everything and nothing. 3 words that confirm what I already knew but hoped wasn't true. 3 words that set me free in ways I didn't expect. I know, I reply. That's why I'm giving you to him. I turn and walk away, leaving them standing in the snow with a crowd of strangers and a set of divorce papers that will reshape all our lives. Behind me, I hear Elaine calling my name, but I don't look back. Some bridges are meant to be burned. The next 48 hours pass in a blur of phone calls, text messages, and the kind of drama that makes small towns feel even smaller. Elaine comes home Christmas morning to find her belongings packed neatly in suitcases by the front door and the locks changed. She pounds on the door for 20 minutes, alternating between tears and threats, while I drink coffee and watch college football. The neighbors are getting quite a show, especially Mrs. Patterson across the street, who's been waiting 30 years for something interesting to happen on Maple Grove Drive. "Colin, please," Elaine shouts through the window. "We need to talk about this like adults." "We did talk," I call back, "for 12 years. Turns out you were having a different conversation." Jordan shows up around noon, looking like he hasn't slept in days. His expensive coat is wrinkled, his hair is a mess, and his golden boy charm has been replaced by something that looks suspiciously like panic. "Colin, open the door. This is ridiculous." "No, Jordan. What's ridiculous is my best friend thinking he can steal my wife and still be welcome in my house. I never meant for this to happen, but it did happen, for months, while you sat at my kitchen table, drank my beer, and took my money at poker." Through the window, I watch him pace back and forth on my front porch like a caged animal. Elaine stands beside her suitcases, looking lost and small in a way that might have broken my heart a week ago. Now it just looks like justice. They leave eventually, loading her things into Jordan's BMW and driving away like refugees from their own choices. I give them an hour, then call Leo. "Boss? Thought you were taking the week off." "Change of plans. You know anyone who works at the phone company?" "My cousin Rick installs cable." "Why?" "I need some information about phone records. Specifically, I need to know if certain calls can be traced to specific locations." "That sounds like divorce stuff." "That's exactly what it is." "Rick owes me a favor. I'll make some calls." By New Year's Eve, half of Briarcliff knows the story. Not because I'm spreading gossip. I'm not that petty, but because Elaine's friends have big mouths and small brains. Maya Singh, in particular, seems to think the whole situation is romantic instead of pathetic. "It's like a movie," she gushes to anyone who'll listen. Star-crossed lovers, torn apart by circumstances, finally free to be together. What she doesn't mention is that Jordan hasn't actually committed to anything. He's staying at the Hampton Inn downtown instead of getting a place with Elaine. She's crashing with Tara Williamson, sleeping on a couch and pretending it's temporary. The truth is, Jordan never wanted a full-time girlfriend. He wanted the excitement of an affair, the thrill of stolen moments and secret phone calls. Actually being responsible for someone else's happiness? That's a different kind of commitment entirely. I learned this from an unexpected source, Jordan's business partner, Victor Chen. We meet at Murphy's bar on New Year's Eve, two men drowning their troubles in whiskey and poor decisions. "He's freaking out," Victor tells me, 3 drinks into the evening. "Keeps asking if there's any way to fix things with you, like this is all some big misunderstanding." What do you think? I think he's an idiot who got caught up in something bigger than he expected. Elaine's a beautiful woman, and beautiful women make men stupid. What about the Seattle job? Victor laughs, but there's no humor in it. There is no Seattle job. He made that up to explain why he was traveling so much. He's been meeting investors in Chicago, trying to put together funding for a resort project in Michigan. So he lied to everyone. Pretty much. The plan was to secure funding, then bring Elaine in as a partner. Some fantasy about running a luxury resort together, playing house in the wilderness. And now? Now the investors are asking questions about his personal life. Turns out cheating on your best friend's wife isn't great for your reputation in the business world. Who knew? I buy the next round, feeling something that might be satisfaction or might just be relief. Either way, it tastes better than I expected. The real fun starts in January when Elaine tries to reopen Harmony Wellness Studio after the holiday break. Word has gotten around about her personal life, And apparently, the yoga moms of Briarcliff have strong opinions about adultery. Membership cancellations are through the roof, Maya reports to Tara, loud enough for half the coffee shop to hear. Mrs. Henderson called Elaine a homewrecker and demanded a refund for her annual membership. That's so unfair, Tara replies. Elaine can't help who she falls in love with. Tell that to the mortgage company. We might have to close by March if things don't turn around. I'm sitting 3 tables away, pretending to read the newspaper while actually listening to every word. It's amazing what people will say in public when they think nobody's paying attention. That afternoon, I get a visit from Jordan. He shows up at the Henderson job site, looking nervous and desperate in equal measure. Colin, we need to talk. No, we don't. 5 minutes, please. I set down my drill and face him properly for the first time since the airport. Up close, he looks terrible. Dark circles under his eyes, stubble that suggests he's given up shaving, clothes that look like he slept in them. Say what you came to say. I'm sorry. I know that doesn't fix anything, but I need you to know that I never meant for it to go this far. How far did you mean for it to go? I don't know. It just happened. One day we were talking about her problems with the studio. The next day we were talking every night. It felt good to be needed, you know. So, you decided to need her right out of my marriage. It wasn't like that. She was unhappy, Colin. Had been for years. You two were like roommates, not husband and wife. And whose fault was that? He doesn't have an answer because we both know the truth. Marriages don't end because of affairs. Affairs happen because marriages are already ending. But understanding the disease doesn't excuse the symptoms. What do you want, Jordan? I want to make this right. Tell me how to fix this. You can't. Some things don't get fixed. They just get finished. What about Elaine? What about her? She loves me. I can't just abandon her. Then don't. Marry her. Build a life together. Be happy. Just do it somewhere else with someone else's blessing. I pick up my drill and get back to work, but Jordan doesn't leave. He stands there for another 5 minutes, waiting for something, forgiveness, maybe, or permission to feel better about his choices. He doesn't get either. That evening, I make a decision that will change everything. Instead of letting them slink away to lick their wounds in private, I'm going to make sure their story gets told properly. Not with malice, but with truth. Let the community decide what they think about people who betray trust and break promises. I start with Mrs. Patterson, my nosy neighbor who's been eager to know the real story. Over coffee and store-bought cookies, I give her the facts, the phone records, the secret meetings, the lies that stretched over months. 300 calls, she repeats, shaking her head. In 1 month? Give or take. And he was supposed to be your best friend? 25 years, since high school. Well, I never. That poor woman must be devastated. Which woman? You, of course. Having your trust betrayed like that. Mrs. Patterson has a bridge club that meets twice a week and a phone tree that reaches half the county. By the end of the week, everyone in Briarcliff will know exactly what Jordan Mercer and Elaine Waverly did, and more importantly, how they did it. The court of public opinion is about to convene, and I plan to make sure they get a fair trial. February arrives with the kind of cold that makes you question your life choices, and mine are becoming clearer by the day. The divorce is proceeding smoothly. Harold Finch is earning every penny of his fee, but the real satisfaction comes from watching Jordan and Elaine discover that actions have consequences. Jordan's Michigan resort project falls apart when his investors learn about his personal complications. Apparently, wealthy people don't like putting money behind men who can't honor basic commitments. His reputation in real estate circles takes a hit that will follow him for years. Elaine's studio limps along with half its original membership. The yoga moms of Briarcliff have long memories and strong opinions about moral character. Maya quits in frustration, tired of fielding angry phone calls and cancellation requests. Tara Williamson distances herself from the situation, claiming she never approved of the affair in the first place. But I'm just getting started. The opportunity comes from an unexpected source. Ruth Martinez, a former client who hired me to renovate her kitchen 2 years ago. Ruth is a retired teacher with silver hair, sharp eyes, and the kind of moral backbone that built this country. "Colin Waverly, you look terrible," she announces when she finds me at Murphy's Bar on a Thursday evening. "Thanks, Ruth. You really know how to make a man feel special." "Don't get smart with me. I heard about your situation." "Which situation would that be?" "The one where your wife ran off with your best friend like something out of a soap opera. Half the town's talking about it." "Only half? I'm disappointed." She slides into the booth across from me, uninvited but not unwelcome. "What are you going to do about it?" "What can I do? The divorce will be final in a few months, they'll move away somewhere, and life will go on." "That's it? You're just going to let them ride off into the sunset?" "What else would you suggest?" Ruth leans forward, and I catch a glimpse of the teacher who spent 40 years dealing with teenage troublemakers. "You're going to make sure the truth gets told properly. Not gossip, not rumors. Facts. Let people make up their own minds about what kind of people they're dealing with." "How do you propose I do that?" "Social media, my boy. Facebook, Instagram, all those things you young people use to share every detail of your lives. If they want to be public about their relationship, let's make sure the public knows the whole story." The idea is brilliant in its simplicity. Instead of skulking around spreading rumors, I'll just present the facts and let people draw their own conclusions. Phone records, timeline of events, documented lies, all presented with the kind of calm, reasonable tone that makes people trust what they're reading. I start with a simple Facebook post. "Some of you have been asking about my recent divorce. Here are the facts." Then I lay out the timeline. The mysterious phone calls, the secret meetings, the lies about Seattle, the airport confrontation. No name-calling, no emotional appeals, just a straightforward account of what happened. The response is immediate and overwhelming. Within hours, the post has been shared dozens of times. Comments pour in from friends, neighbors, and people I barely know, all expressing support and outrage in equal measure. "I always thought something was off about those two," writes Mrs. Henderson. "You deserve better, Colin," adds my high school buddy Mike Thompson. "Jordan Mercer showed his true colors. Good riddance," contributes someone I don't even recognize. But the real impact comes from the business community. Word spreads quickly through the network of contractors, suppliers, and property managers who make up Briarcliff's economic backbone. Jordan's reputation takes another hit, this time in his own backyard. Within a week, he loses 2 potential clients who decide they'd rather work with someone more trustworthy. His landlord at Riverside Apartments asks him to find somewhere else to live, citing community concerns about his presence in the building. Elaine faces her own challenges. The remaining members of Harmony Wellness Studio organize a petition asking her to step down as owner, claiming her personal conduct reflects poorly on the business. She refuses, but the writing is on the wall. The studio is finished. That's when Jordan makes his first real mistake. Instead of accepting responsibility and trying to rebuild his reputation quietly, he decides to fight back. He shows up at the Henderson job site on a Tuesday morning, bringing Victor Chen and 2 other men I don't recognize. They're all wearing expensive suits and serious expressions, like some kind of corporate hit squad. "Colin, we need to talk," Jordan announces. "About what?" "About the campaign of harassment you're running against me and Elaine." "Harassment? I posted the truth on Facebook. If the truth is harassing you, that says more about your choices than mine. You're destroying our reputations over a personal matter that should have stayed private. You should have thought about privacy before you started having an affair with my wife." Victor steps forward, trying to play peacemaker. "Colin, I understand you're hurt, but this isn't helping anyone. Jordan's willing to make this right." "How?" Jordan reaches into his jacket and pulls out a checkbook. "Name your price." What will it take for you to back off and let us move on with our lives? The offer hangs in the air like smoke from a house fire. Leo and Tom have stopped working to watch the confrontation, and I can see Mrs. Henderson peeking through her kitchen window. You want to pay me to stop telling people what you did? I want to compensate you for the inconvenience and move forward like adults. How much inconvenience do you think my marriage was worth, Jordan? $25,000. Cash. It's more money than I make in 6 months, enough to pay off my truck and have plenty left over. It's also the most insulting offer I've ever received. No. $50,000. No. Colin, be reasonable. Get off my job site. What? You heard me. Take your friends, take your checkbook, and get out of here before I call the police. Jordan's face flushes red. You can't keep doing this. I have rights. So did I. So did my marriage. So did 25 years of friendship. But you didn't seem too concerned about rights when you were sneaking around behind my back. This isn't over. Yes, it is. You just don't know it yet. They leave, but not before Jordan kicks over a bucket of screws in a display of petulance that would embarrass a 5-year-old. Leo and Tom exchange glances, then burst into laughter. Boss, Leo says, that was beautiful. What was? Watching a rich boy throw a tantrum because he can't buy his way out of trouble. My grandfather would have loved this. That evening, I get a call from Harold Finch with interesting news. Jordan's hired an attorney, Patricia Wells from downtown. She's good, but she's expensive. What does she want? A restraining order against you. Claims you're stalking and harassing her clients. Based on what evidence? A Facebook post and some conversations in public places. It's weak, but she might get a temporary order just to make a point. Let her try. Everything I've done is legal and documented. If they want to make this a court case, I'm ready. Colin, are you sure about this path you're on? Sometimes it's better to just walk away and start over. Harold, my wife spent months planning to leave me for another man. My best friend spent months lying to my face while he stole my life. They made their choices in private, behind closed doors, with no regard for anyone but themselves. Now they get to live with the consequences in public, where everyone can see exactly what kind of people they really are. And if it gets ugly? It's already ugly. I'm just making sure everyone can see it clearly. The restraining order hearing is scheduled for the following Monday. I spend the weekend preparing my defense, gathering phone records, documenting every interaction, building a timeline that shows exactly who did what and when. But my real preparation happens Sunday evening, when I create a new Facebook event. The Truth About Jordan Mercer and Elaine Waverly. The description is simple. Public hearing Monday morning, Briarcliff County Courthouse, 9 a.m. Come hear the facts about adultery, betrayal, and the consequences of broken promises. Within hours, over 100 people have marked themselves as attending. The event gets shared across multiple community groups, church networks, and business associations. By Monday morning, it's the most talked about thing to happen in Briarcliff since the mayor got caught embezzling from the Christmas fund. Jordan and Elaine want privacy. They're about to learn that privacy is a privilege you forfeit when you betray people publicly. The courthouse is going to be very crowded. Monday morning arrives with clear skies and the kind of crisp air that makes everything seem possible. I dress carefully, my best suit, the one I wore to my wedding 12 years ago, with a tie that Elaine bought me for Christmas 3 years back. If we're going to court, I want to look like a man who respects the process. The courthouse parking lot is fuller than I expected. Word has spread beyond Facebook, reaching the informal networks that really run small communities, church groups, coffee shop regulars, the morning crowd at Murphy's bar. These are people who knew me before I was the wronged husband, who remembered Jordan when he was just another kid with big dreams. Harold Finch meets me at the courthouse steps, looking nervous in the way lawyers get when cases become spectacles. Colin, There are reporters here, from the county paper and that blog that covers local business news. Good. Let them report the facts. This is going to follow you for years. Are you prepared for that? Harold, my wife's affair is already following me. My best friend's betrayal is already following me. At least this way, people will know the truth instead of just rumors. Inside, the courtroom is packed. I recognize faces from all corners of my life. Clients, neighbors, people from church, Leo and Tom in their best shirts, Mrs. Patterson with her bridge club friends. Jordan and Elaine sit at the plaintiff's table with their attorney, looking like defendants in their own lives. Patricia Wells is exactly what I expected. Sharp suit, sharper eyes, and the kind of confidence that comes from winning cases other lawyers won't take. She stands to address Judge Morrison with the practiced ease of someone who's done this dance 1,000 times. Your Honor, my clients are seeking protection from a campaign of harassment and intimidation that has made their lives unbearable. Mr. Waverly has used social media to spread private information, organized public demonstrations, and created an atmosphere of hostility that threatens their safety and well-being. Judge Morrison is a fair man in his 60s who's been handling family disputes longer than I've been married. He listens patiently, taking notes, occasionally glancing at the packed courtroom with the expression of someone who's seen every kind of human drama. Mr. Waverly, how do you respond to these allegations? Harold starts to stand, but I wave him off. This is my story to tell. Your Honor, everything I've shared publicly is documented fact. Phone records showing 300 calls between my wife and my best friend. Timeline evidence of their secret meetings. Statements they made to mutual friends about their relationship. I haven't threatened anyone. I haven't stalked anyone. And I haven't shared anything that isn't already part of the public record through divorce proceedings. But you have organized public events designed to embarrass the plaintiffs. I've organized public events designed to share the truth. If the truth is embarrassing, that's a consequence of their choices, not my actions. Patricia Wells objects. Your Honor, Mr. Waverly's motivation is clearly revenge, not justice. He's using the legal system and social media to punish my clients for a private matter between adults. That's when I pull out my secret weapon, a manila folder thick with documentation that Harold doesn't even know about. Your Honor, I'd like to present evidence that this matter was never private. I hand copies to the judge, to Patricia Wells, and to Harold, who looks surprised to see documents he didn't prepare. The folder contains screenshots of social media posts, text message records, and witness statements that paint a very different picture of Jordan and Elaine's private affair. These are Facebook messages between Mrs. Waverly and her friends, discussing her relationship with Mr. Mercer in detail. These are Instagram posts from Mr. Mercer's business account, showing him at locations where he claimed to be working alone but was actually meeting with Mrs. Waverly. These are witness statements from employees at restaurants, hotels, and other public venues where they conducted their relationship openly. Judge Morrison reviews the documents while the courtroom waits in silence. I can see Jordan and Elaine whispering urgently to their attorney, who's clearly seeing this evidence for the first time. Mr. Waverly, where did you obtain these materials? From public sources and voluntary witnesses, Your Honor. Everything here was either posted publicly online or observed in public places by people willing to testify to what they saw. Your Honor, Patricia Wells interrupts, the source of this information is irrelevant. Mr. Waverly is still using it to harass my clients. Actually, Ms. Wells, I think the source is very relevant. Judge Morrison sets down the documents and looks directly at Jordan and Elaine. Your clients conducted their relationship in public venues, discussed it on social media platforms, and made no apparent effort to keep it private. They can't now claim harassment when someone else discusses the same information in the same public forums. But, Your Honor, furthermore, I see no evidence of actual harassment in Mr. Waverly's actions. Posting factual information on social media is protected speech. Organizing public gatherings is protected assembly, and responding to adultery with divorce proceedings is not only legal, it's expected. The courtroom erupts in murmurs and whispers. I can see Jordan's face turning red, while Elaine looks like she wants to disappear through the floor. Judge Morrison bangs his gavel. Motion for restraining order is denied. However, I want to be clear with all parties that this court expects everyone to conduct themselves lawfully and civilly going forward. Mr. Waverly, you have the right to share factual information, but I don't want to see you back here on stalking charges. Ms. Mercer and Mr. Mercer, you have the right to privacy in your personal lives, but that privacy begins with your own discretion, not court orders. As we file out of the courtroom, I'm surrounded by people offering congratulations and support. But the real satisfaction comes from watching Jordan and Elaine try to navigate the crowd of familiar faces, people who now know exactly what they did and how they did it. Outside, Patricia Wells approaches me with the look of a lawyer who's just lost a case she expected to win. Mr. Waverly, my clients would like to discuss a settlement. What kind of settlement? They're prepared to leave Briarcliff permanently in exchange for your agreement to stop discussing their relationship publicly. I consider this for exactly 3 seconds. No. Mr. Waverly, be reasonable. You've made your point. You've had your revenge. Isn't it time to move on? Ms. Wells, your client spent months making a point about my marriage, my friendship, and my life. They made it publicly, repeatedly, and without any concern for my feelings or reputation. Now they want to negotiate the consequences? That's not how consequences work. Jordan appears beside his lawyer, looking desperate and angry in equal measure. Colin, please, we get it. You win. Just let us go. I'm not stopping you from going anywhere, Jordan. I'm just not helping you pretend this never happened. What do you want from us? I want you to live with what you've done. I want everyone who meets you from now on to know exactly what kind of people you are. I want your choices to follow you the way they've followed me. That's not fair. Fair? The word comes out louder than I intended, and several people turn to look. You want to talk about fair? Was it fair to lie to my face for months? Was it fair to plan your new life together while pretending to be my friend? Was it fair to make me look like an idiot in front of everyone we know? We never meant... I don't care what you meant, Jordan. I care what you did. And what you did was betray 25 years of friendship for a woman who's already looking for someone better than you. Elaine steps forward, tears streaming down her face. Colin, I loved you. I still love you. This whole thing just got out of hand. No, Elaine. You love the idea of me. The security, the stability, the nice house on Maple Grove Drive. But you were never in love with me, and I was too stupid to see the difference. That's not true. Then why didn't you just ask for a divorce? Why the months of sneaking around and lying? Why make me the last person to know about my own marriage? She doesn't have an answer, because we both know the truth. She wanted to keep me as a backup plan while she figured out if Jordan was serious about their future together. Insurance against making a mistake. The divorce will be final in 6 weeks, I tell them both. After that, you're free to go anywhere and do anything you want. But you don't get to rewrite history, and you don't get to control how people remember what you did. I walk away, leaving them standing on the courthouse steps with their expensive lawyer and their expensive problems. Behind me, I hear Jordan calling my name, but I don't turn around. Some conversations are finished whether both sides know it or not. That evening, Leo and Tom take me to Murphy's bar for what they call a victory celebration. The place is packed with people who want to buy me drinks and shake my hand, like I've just won some kind of championship. Boss, Leo says, raising his beer, that was the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. You stood up there like a man and told the truth, and the truth was enough. Enough for what? Enough to win, enough to matter, enough to make sure everyone knows the difference between right and wrong. Tom nods enthusiastically. My ex-wife tried to pull the same kind of nonsense, claiming I was harassing her when all I did was tell people what really happened. But I didn't have your documentation. I didn't have your evidence. She got away with rewriting our whole story. This isn't about getting away with anything, I reply. It's about making sure the truth gets told properly. Same thing, boss. Same thing. We drink until closing time, and for the first time in months, I feel something that might be peace. Not happiness, that will take longer, but the kind of peace that comes from knowing you've done the right thing, the right way. Jordan and Elaine will leave Briarcliff eventually. They'll find somewhere new to start over, somewhere their story isn't already known. But they'll take the truth with them, and sooner or later, new people will learn what old people already know. Some mistakes follow you forever. Some choices define you permanently. Some consequences can't be negotiated away or bought off or explained into something prettier. That's not revenge. That's just life. 3 weeks after the courthouse victory, I think the worst is behind us. Jordan and Elaine have been keeping a low profile, making arrangements to leave town, staying out of public view. The community has moved on to other gossip, other drama. Life in Briarcliff is returning to its normal rhythm of small-town predictability. I should have known better. Desperate people don't go quietly, and Jordan Mercer has never been good at accepting defeat. The first sign of trouble comes on a Thursday evening when I return from the Henderson job to find my front door standing open. Not broken, not forced, just open, like someone with a key decided to walk right in. My key ring is in my hand, so either I forgot to lock up this morning, unlikely, or someone else has access to my house. Since I changed the locks after Christmas, that someone would have to be very determined or very skilled. I call out as I enter, but there's no response. The house feels empty, but not undisturbed. Someone has been here, looking through my things with the kind of careful thoroughness that suggests professional interest rather than random burglary. My office has been searched, not trashed, but definitely examined. File cabinets opened and closed, desk drawers pulled out and pushed back in, papers moved and replaced. Whoever did this was looking for something specific, and they took their time finding it. The answering machine is blinking with 17 messages, which seems excessive until I start playing them back. The first few are normal: Leo asking about tomorrow's schedule, Mrs. Patterson inviting me to dinner, Harold Finch updating me on divorce paperwork. Then, Jordan's voice fills the room, tight with anger and something that might be panic. Colin, we need to talk. Tonight, this has gone far enough. The next message is Elaine crying, "Please, Colin, Jordan's not thinking straight. He's talking about doing something stupid. Just call us back." Message after message, escalating in desperation and volume. Jordan threatening legal action, then begging for a meeting, then making vague references to evening the score. Elaine alternating between apologies and accusations, her voice getting more hysterical with each call. The last message is different. Jordan's voice is calm, controlled, almost friendly. "Colin, I'm coming over. We're going to settle this tonight one way or another. Just you and me like the old days." I check the timestamp, 20 minutes ago. That's when I hear the car door slam in my driveway. Through the front window, I see Jordan walking toward my house with the kind of purposeful stride that suggests he's made some kind of decision. He's not alone. Elaine follows a few steps behind, along with 2 men I don't recognize. One is tall and thin, wearing a suit that doesn't quite fit. The other is shorter, broader, with the kind of build that suggests he's used to physical confrontation. This isn't a social call. I consider calling the police, but what would I tell them? My ex-friend and my soon-to-be ex-wife are walking toward my front door with some companions? That's not illegal, just uncomfortable. Instead, I open the door before they can knock, stepping onto the front porch with my hands visible and my voice calm. "Jordan, Elaine, gentlemen. Colin." Jordan's smile is strained but present. "Thanks for seeing us. I don't recall agreeing to see you. We need to talk, all of us, about how this situation is going to be resolved. I thought it was already resolved. Divorce papers, courthouse hearing, public records seemed pretty clear to me. The tall man in the ill-fitting suit steps forward. Mr. Waverly, my name is Richard Santos. I represent certain business interests that have been affected by your recent publicity campaign. What kind of business interests? The kind that value discretion and reputation. The kind that don't appreciate having their associates dragged through public scandals. Are you threatening me, Mr. Santos? I'm offering you an opportunity to reconsider your approach to this situation. The shorter man hasn't said anything, but he's positioned himself between me and my truck, cutting off the most obvious escape route. His jacket is open, and I can see something that might be a shoulder holster or might just be suspicious shadows. This is escalating beyond divorce drama into something more dangerous. What kind of opportunity? Jordan answers before Santos can respond. A financial settlement. Enough money to relocate, start over somewhere else, build a new life. All you have to do is sign a non-disclosure agreement and disappear. Disappear? Leave Briarcliff tonight. Don't come back, don't contact anyone from here, don't discuss what happened with my wife, just vanish. And if I refuse? Santos smiles, but it doesn't reach his eyes. Let's hope you don't refuse, Mr. Waverly. That would be unfortunate for everyone involved. That's when I realize this isn't about Jordan's reputation or Elaine's embarrassment. This is about money, serious money, the kind that makes people do desperate things to protect it. What aren't you telling me, Jordan? Nothing. This is just about moving forward. No, this is about something bigger, something that makes grown men show up at my house with muscle and threats. I look directly at Santos. What business interests are we really talking about here? Santos and Jordan exchange glances, and I see something pass between them, a moment of communication that confirms my suspicion. Mr. Waverly, some questions are better left unasked. And some answers are better left unheard, right? That's when Elaine breaks down completely. Colin, please just take the money and go. You don't understand what you're dealing with. These people don't negotiate. What people, Elaine? The investors Jordan's been working with. They're not normal business people. Jordan spins toward her, furious. Shut up, Elaine. Just shut up. He deserves to know what he's gotten into. He got himself into this by being a vindictive jerk who can't let go of the past. I got myself into this, I say quietly, by trusting people who didn't deserve it. Santos steps closer, and now I can see that what I thought might be a shoulder holster definitely is. Mr. Waverly, you have 60 seconds to make a decision. Take the money and leave, or face the consequences of your stubbornness. That's when Leo's pickup truck turns into my driveway, followed immediately by Tom's sedan and Mrs. Patterson's ancient Buick. Then Mike Thompson's motorcycle, then Harold Finch's BMW, then what looks like half the regular crowd from Murphy's bar. "Boss!" Leo calls out, climbing down from his truck. "Got your message about needing help moving some heavy furniture tonight." I never sent any such message, but Leo's grin tells me he knows exactly what kind of help I actually need. Tom positions himself near Santos's car, while Mike Thompson and 3 other men spread out across my front yard. Mrs. Patterson marches up to the porch like she's leading a church committee meeting. "Colin, dear, I brought that casserole I promised, and some of the neighbors wanted to help with your project." Santos looks around at the growing crowd of locals, his professional confidence wavering slightly. "This is a private conversation." "Not anymore," Harold Finch announces, climbing out of his BMW with a briefcase and a smile. "Mr. Waverly asked me to document this meeting for legal purposes. I hope everyone's comfortable being recorded." He pulls out a small device that might be a recorder or might just be his phone, but Santos doesn't know the difference. What he does know is that whatever leverage he thought he had just evaporated under the weight of witnesses and documentation. "Jordan," I say, "I think you and your friends should leave now." This isn't over, Colin. Yes, it is. It's been over since Christmas Eve. You just haven't accepted it yet. Santos whispers something to Jordan, then nods to his partner. They walk back to their car with the measured pace of professionals who know when a situation has turned against them. Elaine lingers on the porch, looking lost and frightened. Colin, I'm sorry. I never wanted it to go this far. I know, but it did go this far, and now we all have to live with the consequences. What's going to happen to us? I don't know, Elaine. That's not my problem anymore. She follows Jordan to Santos's car, and they drive away into the gathering darkness. The crowd of neighbors and friends gradually disperses, but Leo and Tom stick around to help me check the house for anything else that might have been disturbed. Boss, Leo says, what was that really about? I'm not sure, but I think Jordan got himself mixed up with some people who don't like publicity, and my little truth-telling campaign made them nervous. You think they'll be back? No. People like that operate in shadows. Too many witnesses, too much attention, too much risk. They'll find an easier way to solve their problem. What kind of easier way? The kind that doesn't involve me. 3 days later, Jordan and Elaine leave Briarcliff in the middle of the night, taking only what they can fit in 2 suitcases and Jordan's BMW. The Riverside Apartments manager finds Jordan's unit cleaned out and the keys on the kitchen counter, along with a note apologizing for breaking the lease. Harmony Wellness Studio closes permanently, with a simple sign in the window. Thank you for your support. Building available for lease. I never see either of them again. 6 months later, Harold Finch brings me a newspaper clipping from a Chicago paper. Jordan Mercer and 2 business associates have been arrested for fraud in connection with a real estate investment scheme. Elaine isn't mentioned in the article, but a sidebar notes that authorities are seeking additional witnesses who may have information about the suspect's activities. Think she'll testify against him? Harold asks. Probably. People like Elaine always take the deal when the alternative is prison. And how do you feel about that? I feel like justice is more complicated than I used to think, but it still works if you give it enough time. The divorce is final, the house is mine, and Waverly Construction is busier than ever. Apparently, being the guy who stood up to corruption and won makes you popular with people who value honesty in their contractors. I still live on Maple Grove Drive, still drink at Murphy's Bar, still play poker with Leo and Tom on Thursday nights. The difference is that now I sleep well at night, knowing that the truth has been told and the consequences have been distributed fairly. Some stories end with revenge, some end with forgiveness. This one ends with something better. Clarity. Everyone knows exactly what happened, who did what, and why it mattered. That's not revenge. That's just the truth, finally getting its day in court. And the truth, as it turns out,